call things the way we see it. I'll give you an example. Has anyone been down to Millennium Park? Have you seen the Bean? You've heard of the Bean, right? Everybody in Chicago calls it the Bean. Everybody. Except one person, the artist. The artist is actually annoyed at Chicago for calling it the Bean. The artist calls it Cloudgate, and we're like, dude, should have made it look like a bean. It's the Bean now. We love it, but it's the Bean. I mentioned that because the AMA building has a very direct name for that style of architecture. That is Black Box Modernism. Black Box Modernism was a style of architecture developed by German architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, who moved to Chicago to design buildings like that one and also teach architecture. You're going to see work by some of his students on the tour today. Also on the right, two very iconic Chicago towers that you likely have seen already on countless television shows, TV commercials, movies, record album covers. The architect calls these two towers Marina City. We call them the Corncob Towers. Corncob Towers are designed by Bertrand Goldberg, a student of Mies van der Rohe. Bertrand Goldberg noticed in the 1960s that people were working downtown, but not living downtown. It wasn't set up for people to live in downtown. You would do your job and then go back out to the neighborhoods where you had all the stores you needed and everything. He wanted to change that. His whole concept here is called a city within a city. He wants you to have whatever you can have in a neighborhood right outside your door downtown. So if you look at the apartments, great views, going to corn kernels, nice balconies. Underneath there's a level for workout rooms, laundry, place to park the car. In the plaza there's a marketplace, dry cleaners, a couple of restaurants, place to park the boat. He designed a theater that's currently the House of Blues, and behind that, an office building, which is now a hotel. You can literally live and work right here in Marina City. And if you've ever been in a tall, high-rise apartment with a lot of amenities, that whole idea started right here with Bertrand Goldberg. On the left is our lovely Riverwalk. Riverwalk's about 8 years old, but it comes from a city plan over 100 years old. The 1909 city plan by architect Daniel Burnham. Daniel Burnham believed the river belonged to everyone, and everyone should have free and easy access to enjoy it. He was 100% correct. It's been very popular. Just took us 100 years to get it off our to-do list. On the right, this red brick building is the Reed Murdoch building, which opened in 1914. Originally a produce warehouse, now it's offices and restaurants. And what I love about that building, you know, architects obviously love symmetry. You look around at any of these skyscrapers, very balanced, very even. The Reed Murdoch building is not. It is uneven, and I'll show you. When you come out from under the bridge, look up at the clock tower, and when you see the clock tower, count the bay windows to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clock tower, bay windows to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 6. That's weird. And it's also not what they originally did. They originally built an even 6 and 6 building. What happened was in 1930, the city wanted to widen LaSalle Street, but in order to do that, they had to cut off the end of the building. But they did such a great job rebuilding it and matching the original architecture, you wouldn't notice this building was uneven unless some jerk on a microphone pointed it out to you. Which is how I learned about it. On the left is a building called the Builders Building. Its actual name. Built opened in 1927, then added on to 60 years later in 1987. And you can see where the new architects copied the original design a little bit. And they added these modernized windows and that glass roof. And I think that's common in Chicago architecture, honoring the past, but also moving things forward. On the left is the Merchandise Mart. When the Merchandise Mart opened in 1930, it was the largest building in Virginia for 13 years until the Pentagon opened. But it's still pretty darn big, as you can see. 3.7 million square feet. It's got its own train stop right here. 4,000 windows on the entire thing. The Merchandise Mart is classic Art Deco. Here's some elements that tell us that. Inset windows, strong vertical lines that lead your eyes upward, ornamentation, and it's made out of limestone. This building is so big, it had its own zip code until the year 2008, its own postal code. And when they built it, they had to figure out how to build it. They'd never built a building this size before. They adapted technology used for building dams, like the Hoover Dam, to build a straight ahead, we're going in an area called Wolf Point. Wolf Point is where all three branches of the Chicago River converge. It's also the belly button of Chicago. This is where Chicago started to form as a community of buildings in the 1830s. If we're looking at Wolf Point in the 1830s, we'd be looking at a trading post, a tavern, a post office, a tavern, a church, 3 more taverns. Check this place out. Wolf Point's architecturalism bonanza. It's pretty amazing. It's like a trophy case for skyscrapers. And I love this digital art gallery they have here. It's always changing. Most of these buildings were built in just the last 5 to 7 years. It's crazy. The building right in front of us is River Point, which opened up in 2017. See this awesome big old arch at the base of the building? That is structural. That's actually holding the building in place. Now, there's another arch at the top of the building that counters it. That's just for design. They call that building River Point. We call it the Hot Pocket Building. Hot Pocket Building is a series of portals underneath it. Those are exhaust fans because trains run underneath this building. Metro trains and Amtrak trains. We go down South Branch later, you'll see and hear trains underneath a few of the buildings. That's why they need that arch. River Point doesn't have a basement. It is sitting on top of railroad tracks. Now, as we head up the North Branch, you're going to see the oldest building on our tour, this red brick building. That's Fulton House. It opened up in 1898. Now, when that building opened, it did not have that many windows in it, obviously. It barely had any at all. It belonged to the meatpacking industry. Meat was processed on the south side. They would ship the processed meat to that building to be frozen. The entire building was for freezing meat. Big old meat freezer. Then in the 1970s, the meatpacking industry died out in Chicago, and Harry Weiss, a Chicago architect, looked at that old meat freezer and was like, "Bet people would want to live here." And Harry had to wait 6 months to do any building because the building needed to thaw out. It was frozen solid. And if you look at those inset balconies, you can see this. The walls are 4 feet thick. When they first cracked into them to start renovations, they discovered the original insulation, which was made out of matted horsehair and cork. Same ingredients as a hot pot. Harry Weiss also designed the very whimsical river cottages next door. He loves sailing, so check this out. Actual portal windows, lots of triangles emulating sails. And he built right down to the river level, which nobody was doing in the early 1980s because the river was stinky. They were doing like this building with their backs to the river, treating it like an alley. Harry didn't like that, and he wanted to change it. I think he got the ball rolling with the river cottages because our relationship to the river is completely transformed since he's built this. We're engaging with it more, taking better care of it. Architects are honoring it in their design. Here's an example of things that changed. On the right is the back of the East Bank Club. Check out that river walk. Very plush, it's kayaking, tons of windows. When that building opened in 1980, none of that was there. Zero. A boring old sidewalk, not even that many windows. But if things have changed along the river, they've been right in step with it. East Bank Club is a high-end workout club. Celebrities work out there. Oprah Winfrey used to work out there. Barack Obama used to work out there. I don't know if they were workout buddies. I like to think they were doing Zumba classes together. Kinsey Townhomes built themselves to thoroughly enjoy the river. I'm going to be a good neighbor to them and get off the microphone while we turn the boat around. So an opportunity for you to stretch your legs, run to the restroom, visit Caroline at the bar, get something to warm you up maybe. And if you have any questions, just come on up and flag me down. I'll be back on the mic. We'll get right back to this one.
Good.